about
Yeah,
the housing market here in Northern Virginia. What's your overall take? What do you see happening right now?
man, it's still crazy out there for buyers. Obviously, it's a seller's market right now.
Mhm.
I think last month our business wise, we had probably 5 or 6 listings go on in about a 3 or 4 week span, and it was pretty crazy getting those up and running and dealing with a lot
Yeah.
of the traffic coming through. And
Hmm.
we've almost kind of flipped our script now, where we have a handful of buyers that are out searching, and it's
Right.
interesting to see this market from the different perspective right now, and just seeing how competitive we can be with some of our buyers. And
Hmm.
some of them can be more aggressive than others, and
Sure.
some of them are first time home buyers that are just brand new to waiving contingencies, and
Yeah.
I want a home inspection, but you might not get one, kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's a lot different to navigate it from both sides, and I think it's just going to stay this way with the lack of inventory that we have right now,
Y-
regardless of your price point or location that you're looking.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with you. It doesn't seem like there's any change, that's going to occur anytime soon. But I think to your point, you have to tell people what contingencies are. You have to educate them first before have them just start waiving things, right? And
Yeah,
so it
yeah,
takes a little bit more time and preparation to be able to put your buyers in that position. And I would assume, at least from my experience, when you were the listing agent, you take a lot of time to do that, right? And sit down with them and go over their options and talk about the different strategies.
yeah. We often just kind of run through the entire contract from A to
Okay.
Z, and just
Yeah.
also include all the separate addendums that could be a part of it. Because when that time comes to navigate some of those tricky type of things, it's good for our buyers and sellers to have a background on it.
Yeah.
Um, Even those folks that have bought and sold 4 or 5 homes, might not know that you have 3 days to review HOA documents or that kind of thing. There's a lot of intricacies that people just kind of take for granted, that it's important to educate them and make
Sure.
sure that they're completely up to speed on the market. And things move fast here, so you got to move with it.
I know. I mean, I mean, they really do. It seems like houses are listed on a Thursday or Friday, and they're under contract, on Monday if they even make it that far. And so, being ready to write quick and go through those variables with your clients is
Yeah.
is very key to any successful transaction right now. So I know, yeah, education, prepping your buyers. How about your sellers? If you're working with sellers, I know we're starting to see multiple offers again.
Mhm.
Like, how do you handle that with a seller? Is it kind of overwhelming to them sometimes to see, 5 or 10 offers on a place?
We've been advising our sellers, if you can get out of the house for the first weekend, go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
We can just allow overlapping showings and get as many people in the door as possible. Let us get our open
Okay.
house in. Our schedule is we typically go active on like a Thursday or Friday in the
Mhm.
morning, a couple days coming soon before that,
Yeah.
and try to just get as much traffic as possible that opening weekend. We always present offers as they come in,
Okay.
and try to tell our buyers that, or future buyers, that are those agents, that they might accept something early. Sometimes people just want to get out of the situation,
Hmm.
or some people are just looking for top dollar. It all depends on what their, I guess, motives are. Everybody's a little bit different. But
Yeah.
yeah, we are seeing those offer deadlines on both our listings as well as our buy sides,
Hmm.
and really just sit down with them and go over what makes the most sense for their situation.
Sure. I mean that's kind of like what I've learned from doing these shows a lot. There isn't one size that fits all. Every seller, every buyer has a different plan, a different strategy. Um, but it just takes a lot of effort right now. I think
Yeah.
on both sides, and setting the right expectations with people is key. But I mean, to our point from earlier, I mean, yeah, there's right now there's nothing that's going to change. I think we saw interest rates spike over the last week or two, which I think surprised a lot of people.
Hmm.
But I think the expectations still, the forecasts are that rates will start to fall at some point later this year, and I think that's just going to cause more demand um, on the buying side. I don't see
Yeah.
the inventory changing at all. Do you see? I think you said it earlier, but really nothing's going to cause our inventory to increase significantly, right?
No, I mean, I personally don't see it, especially here. We always
Yeah.
tell people that we almost live in like a little bubble here in Northern Virginia, the whole DMV, really,
Hmm.
with our job market being so close to DC, that any recession always, I mean, we'll feel it, but not maybe as bad as other parts of the country.
Sure.
And I think that kind of isolates us, one, to make sure you got to know what's going on local in your market compared to something in South Carolina or Florida or even out west where a lot of stuff is dropping right now and they're seeing their days on market creep up,
Yep.
where it's just not close to the case here. So
Yep.
it's just important to be educated. I don't think it's going to be changing anytime soon. I would love
Sure.
for it to change and to get some more inventory out and some good inventory.
Yeah.
But for now, I think it's going to be status quo.
Yeah, and I mean, do you even remember what a balanced market felt like? I mean, at this point, I think that feeling is long gone for me.
Yeah,
Um,
it's funny. Caitlin and I were actually talking the other day, and we are like, I just like you hear people say, let me just get back to a normal market. But
yeah,
that term almost like doesn't exist because no
yeah,
market is ever normal. Like everything is always a little bit different.
sure.
But a balanced market would be great just in the fact that I think it's great for buyers and sellers where buyers can
Yeah.
go and get a home inspection. You're asking these people to go out and spend uh,
Hmm.
hundreds of thousands of dollars on a house and they can't do a home inspection before to make sure it's not falling apart or you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Hmm.
But then on the vice versa, like there's still room for sellers to get their perfect price that they want
Yeah.
and still cash out on equity in their house, roll it into their next investment, their next home or whatever. So I mean,
It,
in a perfect world, yeah, I would love to be back at like the 21 days on market, and that's a normal kind of thing.
we,
Don't judge a home by how long it's on the market. You just got to find that right buyer for it.
yeah.
But
One day we'll get there, but yeah, not
yeah,
anytime soon. But yeah,
I,
at this point,
yeah,
that's long gone, and you adapt, to the change and how the market is, and I think a lot of people are doing a good job of that. Um, And like you said, though, I mean, real estate is very local. I mean, it's one side of the street. It can be treated differently than the other. I know where am here in Reston. We have North Reston and South Reston, and it
hmm
is slightly different than one another. And we're a stone's throw away. And that's kind of what was intriguing about getting you to talk about Willowsford, which I think is one of the hot areas in Northern Virginia. I know you have some data. If you want to kind of jump into it, we start with Willowsford and then get into Haymarket. The floor
yeah.
is yours.
So I mean,
Hmm.
if you're not familiar with Willowsford, it's a farm to table type planned community that started getting built around the early 2010s, that decade there.
Yep.
Seems like forever ago, but it's really not that far ago. Like 2012 is when they started, and they kind of just finished construction over there this past year.
Hmm.
With some small 510 homes kind of being built to finish it off. But in total, there's like 2,500 homes, some great amenities. It's a super popular neighborhood and really high demand. And there's just not a lot of turnover there. So
Yeah.
in total, there's like 2,600 homes. I think I said it's split up between Ashburn and Aldie, with
Hmm.
the Aldie side having the Greens and the Grove, and then the Grange and the Grant are over on the Ashburn side. They get creative with their village names. But there's some cool amenities, some resort style pools, archery ranges, trails over like 30 miles of trails to get on.
Hmm.
Um, so in terms of like numbers though, there actually has been a decent amount of inventory the past month or two,
Okay.
just specifically in Willisford. But I guess you got to take that relative. I think right now there's actually only one home for sale, and it's under the $1 million mark, which is
Oh wow.
very rare.
Yeah.
It's a main level living home, and a lot smaller than some of the other ones. But
Hmm.
for one closed last week at 2.5 million with a 4-car garage and a pool in the backyard. So
Yeah. Yeah.
homes can get up there in price, but in terms of like average median value right now, we're looking at like 1.25 days on market is right around like 10 or 14 days.
Okay.
There's a couple that were pushing it, but that's right around average median.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, at that higher price point, I mean, you're going to have slightly longer time frame because of the financing and things.
hmm
But yeah, we've had a lot of people growing families, looking at Willowsford over the past couple of years, and it just seems to I think they're are they still building out there in Willowsford? It's all complete now?
No, they're pretty much all complete. There's a few smaller, I shouldn't say smaller,
Yeah.
lots that
Yeah.
are like private lots that they have their own
Okay.
custom builders for and stuff like that. So there's a little bit of construction going on, but
Yeah.
all of the planned builders from all the big names are pretty much done now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, and there is like an HOA, like you said. and that
Yeah,
includes like
so
what's
HOA
that, the pools?
is
Hmm.
pricey. It's like I think 680 a quarter,
Okay.
but it includes access to like the on-site gym there, which is really nice. Pools, bocce ball court. There's a
Hmm.
kitchen in there that you can rent out for events that has its own private chef.
Wow.
It is a farm planned farm community, so there's a whole CSA program that you can opt into and get vegetables and fruits
Wow.
actually grown in the community delivered to your front doorstep on a weekly basis. And they do some really cool events like fireworks on Fourth of
Hmm.
July, parties and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's definitely a fun neighborhood to live in and have a family in.
Yeah, no, it seems like it, and I grew up in Burke, which is another planned development master HOA,
Yeah,
and we didn't have any anything like that. No, so that's pretty cool.
yeah,
And I think there's pros and cons to being a part of the HOA. Having grown up in Burke, living in Reston, I come to appreciate them and the amenities that they offer, especially right now this time of year with the pools. And I do get jealous of looking at those people enjoying their pools out there in Willowsford, because those things are pretty nice, especially with
yeah,
kids, right?
yeah.
They're great.
Wear
Okay,
them
so
out.
yeah, yeah, that's the plan, man. That 100%. Yeah, exactly. Wear out the kid, get him to bed at a reasonable hour, and actually enjoy your evening for once. But great. I mean, the other area that we want to talk about right now, we can kind of just hop into it, is Haymarket, and it's much different, right? It's a much larger area, obviously, right? So I don't know if you want to
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
I
get
mean,
into that as well.
Willowford is huge in the fact that it spans over like
Right.
two different, Aldie and Ashburn, and
Sure.
Route 50 kind of divides them. But Haymarket as a town is also really, really cool. We actually used to live there, and we loved it there.
Uh huh.
It's great location wise off of 66 and 15. So if you're looking to commute into DC, you get there. If you're looking to get out west, hiking on the Blue Ridge Mountains or some of the wineries out there, you got that too. And
Hmm.
then the downtown Haymarket area is really nice. A couple good restaurants you can walk around, and they've really done a good job of building it up. They just finished the big hotel there
Right.
with a super nice restaurant down below. So it's definitely an up and coming area. 10, 15 years ago, it looked a lot different.
Yep.
I myself am local too. I grew up in Centerville. So, I mean, if you would have told me like Haymarket's going to look like this and you're going to live there in 3 years or for 3 years or 4 years, however long we were there, I would have said
Yep.
you're absolutely nuts. But it's actually an awesome place to live now.
Yeah, I agree with you too. It's yeah, I mean, it was hard to find in the map, and now again, people are moving a little bit further out west. Some people like the Haymarket lifestyle that you can get there, and others are looking for like the Willowsford, and that kind being that community.
Hmm.
And before 10 years ago, I probably couldn't even find those places on a map.
Yep.
And yeah, driving down 66, through Haymarket in that area, it's totally different now. And it's exciting to see the growth that we've seen and experienced here in Northern Virginia. But I think to your point, our market is strong, it's solid. We have an agent, Anthony Carr, on these shows, and he came up with the saying that housing is where the jobs go at night. And we have great employment here from the government, military, and now the tech sectors coming into play in our market. We're starting to see younger people and demographics move back into the area, where I think 10 years ago it seemed like people would graduate college and they would leave Northern Virginia to go get
Hmm.
those tech and IT jobs. And now it's kind of the opposite. People are flocking here, not just locally, but from out of state as well.
Yeah.
So it's been fun to see the growth, from all over. So I mean, any other tips or things you want to share? I know you mentioned that you're looking to grow your team. How about like talking about real estate agents? Like, what advice you've experienced? You've been through many markets, many seasons. What advice would you give a real estate
Yeah.
agent who's watching?
I think right now, so Caitlin and I are both part of we'll plug the Tom Ferry network. We do coaching through Tom Ferry. It's kind of crazy. Like you leave your 9 to 5 job in the office and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go be my own boss. But sometimes you need a little accountability or just bounce some ideas off somebody else. So we joined the Tom
Yeah.
Ferry network and started getting a real estate coach, and just to really help us get to that next level and then that next level. And we
Mm-hmm.
went to their event in January for the elite coaches in Vegas. It was 3 days, a ton of information.
Yeah.
And there were like one big thing that we took out of that was Tom Ferry's quote. motto, I guess, of the 3 days was what's working is working.
Hmm.
Somebody came up to him and asked, what's working for your agents right now? What lead source, what new technology? And he was like, just working kind of thing. And that
Right.
really stuck with me that this market is getting tougher. You're seeing a lot of real estate agents starting to drop. Some of those people that might
Hmm.
have got their licenses 2 or 3 years ago. Uh,
Yep.
you're starting to see the total number of licensed agents across the entire nation drop. And it's
Hmm.
getting tougher out there in
Hmm.
terms of just the market and trying to make a living in this profession.
Yep.
So I think just getting back to, you hate to say it, like getting back to the basics, but what are you doing the best lead wise? What are your
Yep.
best lead pillars, and really just start to lean in on them. Don't try to go and add 5 or 6 or 7 more lead pillars and you're gonna, not do a great job at them, or it's gonna take a while to learn. Just keep doing what's been working for you the last couple of years, and you're gonna have to
Hmm.
work harder at it.
Yep.
And I think our team has done a really good job of working that over the
Hmm.
past 6 months, especially since that event,
Sure.
and we're pretty proud of it so far. So, yeah, we joined Sampson Properties like 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
We were looking to kind of grow our team, and we felt after looking around that this was a good landing spot for us.
Sure.
They got an awesome headquarters here in Chantilly, Virginia, just over by the Wegmans off Westfields Boulevard. So,
Yep.
uh, agents, if you're out there listening, if you're looking to join a team or even just bounce some ideas off of what's working for us, what might be working for you, we love to always collaborate and kind of help each other. So,
Exactly. I think collaboration is key right now, and tap into people who have, again, different lead pillars. Don't fall for like the shiny object syndrome and keep trying thing after thing without really properly implementing it.
yeah,
And that's, I mean, I think everyone has fallen victim to that because over the past couple of years, there's been, changes in social media. I mean, we're live streaming right now. That's fairly new way to get marketing and content out there. And you're constantly, trying these new things with, everyone's suggesting, this is the basics. It's just relationship first. The blocking and tackling, calling people, touching base with your clients, and taking care of them first. And that is how you get to your level of success and having a long term career. I can't tell you. I tell the story to a lot of people how many times you're in line in the grocery store and
hmm
start a conversation with somebody in line and they're like, oh, I used to sell real estate or I used to do mortgages, and it
yeah,
happens, right? And so when you find someone who's been doing this for 10, 15 years, yeah, tap into that, collaborate. I mean, there's nothing wrong. I was on a team for half of my career, learning as much as I could, and it has paid dividends. And so I would say, yeah, if you're a solo agent, definitely, think about joining a team and getting experience, knowledge, and staying in this industry most importantly, because it is, on the mortgage side and the real estate side, this is, I think, the best industry out there. And you can make long-term careers and have a fulfilling life of helping people, with their biggest need, their housing. It's a great job, and I enjoy every second of it. And I enjoy talking to
absolutely.
agents,
Yep.
yeah, such as you, and getting your expertise and the inside track on what you see working right now. Any other kind of little nuggets you want to share? I think I'm assuming this is Caitlin here. Let's see.
Oh no.
She said, "Yeah, we need a pool." So you don't have a pool? Me, yeah.
I think she's talking about maybe our personal residence there.
Yeah, you got to start digging.
That, yeah,
Get out in the
yeah. That's
backyard, grab a couple
that's the
buddies.
tough part about the tough part about our industry is seeing all these beautiful houses, and you're like,
Yeah.
yeah, I want that kind of thing.
Oh,
you know,
yeah. Tell me about it. I mean, I don't go to the houses in person, but I look at
yeah,
the photos online, and there's a couple times where I'm like, sending them to my wife and being like, Emery, check out this house. Like, I mean, we even like, talk about Willowsford, the house that we were worked on together. I sent that to my wife and I
hmm
was like, listen, look, this is like the dream home right here.
yeah,
And
yeah. That was an amazing home. Yeah,
it was a beautiful home, but yeah, it's you fall victim of that. Fortunately for us, I live in an HOA, so I use that as an excuse not to do anything outside of my house. Um, Saying that the HOA won't allow me to do
smart
anything.
man.
And yeah, yeah. I'm pretty sure my wife's not watching, but she knows the truth. I'm just lazy.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, any other tips or things you want to share before we hop off on in today's call?
No, I mean, this was great. I appreciate you having me on, chit-chatting a little bit about some of our go-to markets that we really specialize in, and then just
Yeah.
everything as a whole. I'm interested to see where rates go. I know we're pushing that 7% mark right now.
Yep.
So hopefully we can bounce right off that 7 again and start to work our way down.
I think so. And I think,
Hopefully they do end up at the end of the year down.
y-
What do you think they're going to drop down to?
you know,
Hopefully.
I mean, so I mean, we're setting the stage with every client right now. When the rates go up to the 7%, like they have, if you go back, November last year, March of this year, that offers a lot of opportunities to buyers, right? So right now, people are kind of, in shock with the rate going up. So there may not be as much competition for you. So you can take
Hmm.
advantage of that right now. So that's the advice we're giving them. We have a lender paid or no cost temporary buy down program that we're using for a lot of our clients to get them a lower interest rate for the first year that they're in the home. Because we expect, I mean, I'm not an economist, okay? So I'll put it this
Yeah.
way. I pay people and hear what they tell me, and I kind of transcribe that and put it in my own words. And right now, the forecast is that mortgage rates will be below 6% by the end of the year. So we're talking almost a percent drop from where they are at the moment, if that
Yeah.
happens. And as a 1% change in your interest rate changes your buying power by about 10%. So what that would mean is that if you were able to qualify at 7%, you're going to able to qualify for a 10% more home. And so that means that people are going to offer more come the end of the year with these lower interest rates than they are right now. So you have to think, okay, if I can find my house and I can pay 7% for a couple months and then rates drop to 6, I can always refinance. Is that better for
True.
me financially than pay 10% more for the same house by waiting 6 months for that rate to drop? So 10% on, we'll call it, a $700,000 house, we're talking $70,000 delta right there. Whereas the cost to refinance you is about $5,000.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot of what we call cost of waiting analysis for clients, making sure they understand what at least we think is going to happen with rates and prices continuing to rise. Maybe not 10%, but maybe somewhere in the middle. Okay, so 35,000, increase in the cost if homes appreciate 5%. But I mean, it's all theory, it's all thought. Again, we're just kind of looking at what the market is now, and then putting sharing our knowledge, educating our clients, and letting them make the best decision. But I think right now is a great opportunity for people with rates jumping up a little bit. Just be comfortable because there's never a guarantee that you will be able to refinance. There
Yeah.
are some people out there who have started to forecast interest rates could hit 8%. But it really just comes down to the debt ceiling, and I think what happens there. So we'll have a lot of answers, I think, in the next like 2 weeks on what's going to happen. But we're preparing for a significant 1% drop to the rate in the next 6 months right now.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. But
Me
I
too.
think that was a great point. Yeah, a great point you had is just making sure that you're comfortable with your current
Yep.
purchase. Don't bank on, hey, I can get by for 6 months until I refinance. It's like
Yeah.
just make sure you're comfortable. You're not going to be house poor. You still want to live the lifestyle that you want to live. And
Yep.
refinancing is probably going to be an option down the road, but just make sure that you're good in your current situation.
Yeah, and I mean, there's that slogan, marry the house, date the rate. But
Yeah.
it's not a guarantee. I mean, if you're in a position where your job is in jeopardy, perhaps you lose your job and now you're not able to refinance because you have to qualify for the refinance just like you did for the purchase. And
Yeah.
so again, being transparent with people and making sure they understand that is really important. And people working with true professionals that can really guide them and understand that the relationship is way more important than the transaction itself. And give honest feedback and advice is really important. So, hope people watch this and they understand that. And if you're a buyer or seller, reach out to Steven and Caitlin and their team. If you're an agent, I recommend definitely touching base with them and either doing some collaboration or thinking about joining their team because from what I've seen as a lender, they do an excellent job and will continue to be very successful in any market. So I appreciate you coming on and hopefully
Appreciate it.
the first of many times
Let's do it.
All
Whenever you
right.
need me, I'm happy to hop on.
Yeah, sounds good. I appreciate you, man. Take care.
All right. See you.
Bye.